Hi, where are you from?
In suburban Chicago.
What's your name?
Ever impressive.
But never duplicate.
Hey everybody, what's going on? RC here. Hope you guys are doing good. I am doing just great. I'm back with the LTD Deluxe. This is the Phoenix 1000. As you can see, it looks kind of nasty right now. I've been doing a little bit of work on it here and there. I kind of at a pause right now because I have to wait for something to be delivered that is for this guitar, which is basically the primer that I'm going to be using on the body of this and the headstock. So this thing has a lot of chips, a lot of scratches, deep scratches. There's one deep scratch right over here that I can actually get my fingernail to go into. I could fill it, but I'm not going to. I don't want to put a lot of filler on this body at all. So I'm trying to do it a little bit differently than using Bondo. I'm using CA glue to fill up all the chips and stuff before I do any of the painting and primering, then painting. This way I can see and feel, especially this one that's over here. I had to fill this one up quite a bit and build it up because it was on an angle. And then I have to feather out the edges of it before I do the primer, and then make sure that when I do the priming on it, you don't see it, feel it, or there's no shadow from it anymore, and it's completely gone before I paint. Now, one of the things that I've noticed with the ESP LTD guitars is most of them have the same, well, kind of like the same thing going on with them every time I strip one down. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to move the guitar up a little bit so you can kind of get an idea. This right here is bare wood. This right here is a veneer. Yep, I said a veneer. And the weird thing about it is this side has got a veneer on it. This side has got a veneer on it. The center has got what looks like a maple wood. And then there's something else that's in the middle over here. It doesn't quite look like the edges over here. It doesn't have the same type of wood grain pattern inside of it. But yeah, there's a veneer on top of this thing. Why? I don't know. It seems like a lot of these guitars are basically all built maybe the same way, and the finishing is what determines what the guitar is going to be at the end of the run. So this one here, maybe it was, there's quite a few of them that were built with the veneer on top of them, and then there was a handful of them that got painted, and there was a handful of them that maybe got dyed or possibly like a see-through type of a finish on there, and then cleared over that. But yeah, it's kind of weird, but it is what it is. It would be nice to possibly maybe find one and save the veneer on it if the veneer looks really, really nice. This is pretty basic. It kind of reminds me of a mahogany veneer. And then, like I said here, maple, and I don't know what the center stripe is, but it's a different shade than what the rest of the veneer is. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Even on the back of it, it's even on the back. So this here, I'm going to have to sand down the neck. I tried using a little bit of acetone, and then I switched to something a little bit more stronger, which is lacquer thinner, to try to remove the dirt or whatever that's on the back of this neck. I have a feeling that this neck was restained because possibly it was worn out, and I can kind of see where the fingering was on each fret over here. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe that's the case here. I do not know, but I'll find out later on. The frets seem to be in pretty good shape. I haven't noticed really anything going on with them. I haven't checked, straightened out the neck yet to check to see if there needs any fretwork on it or not. The owner of this thing said that he played it before he purchased it, and he fell in love with it. Although, the cosmetic look of it was a little bit on the crappy side. Some people just don't care. And then if they got a plan to refinish it later on down the line, then, it's a good investment for them. If they love the guitar, but yet it looks a little bit like shit, there's always, somebody like me around anywhere that can refinish it and bring it back up to kind of like what it looked like when it was brand new. But this is not going to look like what it looked like when it was brand new. So I'm going to have to sand down this neck really good and save the serial number, the ESP on the back of the headstock, because the back of the headstock, as you can see, is pretty dirty as well, as far as whatever that is that's on here. So the headstock and the body are going to both be painted the same color. Now, years ago, and this is how I kind of fell in love with the automobiles and stuff. Years ago, you know, my father used to do a lot of restoring muscle cars, old vehicles. The last vehicle that we ended up restoring was a 1938, I think, or 32 Plymouth. Before that was a Ford Model A, 1920, I think it was a 28 Ford Model A pickup. I got videos of you know, what we did and stuff with these trucks, and that was the last vehicles we restored. But before that, and this is what got me to, I'm a Chevy guy, okay? I like Chevys. I'm not too crazy about Ford, and I've always been that way. But one of the vehicles that Ford made was the Mustang, all right? Now, me and my father ended up, well, my father, because I was too young to do this, but my father purchased a 1967 Ford Mustang, and now this was nowhere near a muscle car, but it has straight six-cylinder inside of it. I think it had a 3-speed. The steering wheel was not the original steering wheel, and when we found out what the steering wheel came from, I can't remember what it was, but the steering wheel was actually worth a hell of a lot more than what my father purchased the car for. It needed a lot of work. But all in all, we found a place out here in Illinois called Mustang of America, and they make OEM parts like quarter panels and stuff like that, or they get OEM parts. And one of the things that we ended up picking up were badges for the car. You know, we ended up, this one was the only one that was actually savable compared to the other ones. The other ones were pretty shitty, and I believe these went on the fenders, I believe, or if this was on, I think this was on the fenders, I'm not sure. But yeah, this thing was the only one that was in decent shape, and I saved it. You know, I kept it for all these years, and I'm talking like when I was like 13 years old or something like that, you know, years ago. And this has been hanging on the wall behind me ever since I started doing YouTube and put together the wall behind me as far as all my parts go and stuff. But yeah, this was the only one that was keepable. And I was thinking about, because this guitar has a little bit of a scheme going on. You know, I mentioned the Mustang. Well, the owner of this is really into classic muscle cars as well, and one of the vehicles that he likes is the Mustang Mach 1. So here is a rendering of what this guitar is going to look like when I get finished with it. And as you can see, it's going to have a lot of the characteristics of the Mustang Mach 1. So yeah, that's what's going to happen with this thing. Now, right now, well, it's on hold until I get the primer. So I can continue sanding more of this finish off, get this edge nice and sharp the way it's supposed to be, but I need to wait for the CA glue to cure a lot more before I can start doing anything. Otherwise, it's like gummy right now. But once this shit dries, it gets hard as a rock. I ran out of the activator, so I've got more CA glue coming, more activator coming, and there's going to be more touch-up spots on this thing as I start digging into it more, especially around the edges where it's chipped out. Now, right now, I got a sharp edge around here, which needs to be a little bit rounded as it is over here and throughout the rest of the body, so that's going to have to be sanded down. But I have to wait till I get the CA glue and the activator in order to correct the spots that are over here, to build them up enough to where I can sand them down to shape them with the body. So this is going to be on hold for a little bit, but now you know what's going on with this thing. And the headstock, the body is going to match. It's going to have the stripe over here, and this is all going to be painted. I already picked up the paints to do this. I got the gold for the striping, I got the white for the lettering and everything, and then I got the blue, which is a metallic blue, to match the color of the vehicle in the rendering. So let me put this off to the side and show you what I'm going to be working on today. So what I'm working on today is going to be the ESP LTD, and this is going to be the Iron Maiden one. And as you can see, I've got the whole top of it masked off, and I don't know if you can see the finish on there or not, I have to sand this down a little bit and then buff it out. I have one spot right here that was an indentation in the body, so I ended up filling that up with the clear just to build it up a little bit, and I think this is pretty much ready to be sanded and buffed, even though it looks pretty nice before buffing, but there's a little bit of dust here that I want to remove. Sides, everything's been taken care of and ready to go on to the next steps to go ahead and finish this thing. So I've got my sandpaper, and again I am using 2000 grit sandpaper because I don't want to cut this fast. I want to cut it slow and have a nice buffing surface after I get done. So the back and the sides are all going to get sanded down really nice and smooth, and I can peel it off the tape on the front of it, check to see if I need to do any work as far as buffing to the top, put it together and get it out the door. So I'm going to go ahead and start sanding this thing down now. Hopefully the clear is cured enough to where I don't run into any problems. It's been curing for quite a few days now. I can't remember what day I sprayed this, but so I'll go ahead and sand this down. Now, a good way to tell if I'm going to have a problem is if I'm sanding down this hump right here and I end up removing the hump instead of sanding it smooth, because then it's telling me that the clear is not really ready to be sanded. Although I did the fingernail test and I do not have a problem with leaving my fingernail in the finish. I've already put a little bit of epoxy in here to level this off, so I'm starting over with the controls. I'm not using the same control pattern that was inside here because this is going to have not really an active system, but I'm going to end up putting the tone switch inside here, where it's going to have different, almost like kind of like a distortion pedal, where it's got different settings on it, if you want to call it that.